Well, hi there. Wanted to tell you something. We got a fascinating conversation coming up this Sunday morning on Viewpoint, and it's an interesting perspective conversation because almost exactly 2 years ago, Idaho was in the thick of crisis standards of care. You remember this? The COVID pandemic overwhelmed our health system to the point that it kicked off a very real process of medical staff, equipment, and hospital beds being rationed for those who are most likely to survive dark times. So this week on Sunday morning, we're taking a look back with Idaho medical expert Dr. David Pate. Dr. Pate and I talked through lessons learned, what the pandemic did to public health, and where COVID sits today. Yes, it's still with us. And a popular question that I've heard this year, do we just give up on COVID mitigation efforts? For example, what is the value of testing for COVID at this point? The federal government announced basically that families can start ordering and getting the free COVID tests again.
Yes.
And I'm curious, at this point in the pandemic, or in this point in whatever you want to call it, because what's the value of testing? Is it as simple as it's just good to know if I have it or not? Because they're not being reported.
Right. So the benefits of testing are, number one, I hope that we've learned if you're sick, please stay home. Please don't share. And so one thing is, if you're sick, stay home and then test, because if you have COVID, one, don't go and expose others, but two, we have options today. We have antivirals that we can use, especially for those that might be at risk of getting more severe illness.
Dr. Pate and I also dive into misinformation and the battle that the pandemic presents to the medical community. Also of note, if you haven't heard about this, the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare, they sent out 2 notices over the last 10 days about cases of measles in the Nampa area. And Dr. Pate explains the community concerns and reality we face in Idaho with lower vaccination rates. So that's coming up Sunday morning here on KTVB.